Brain on Air. The program will begin shortly. Enjoy.
أنتم تستمعون إلى برنامج عقلك على الهواء. سيبدأ البرنامج قريبا. استمتعوا.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to your Brain on Air. I am your host, YBOA Larson. And park rangers, are they real or are they just a part of the collective imagination? Think about it, ladies and gentlemen. It really doesn't make sense if you think about it for more than 5 seconds. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're having a wonderful Tuesday. I am having a stupendous one. I'll use that word, stupendous. That's a brand new, fresh one I'm going to add to the vocabulary I don't normally use on the show. I hope you're having a wonderful second day of the week. You know what I mean? It's the usual. You know what I mean? It's the grind day. You're not quite to the middle of the week. You know what I mean? So you can't feel like, oh, we're on top of the hill and now it's all downhill from there. It's that moment where, oh, you're about to come up to the precipice of the hill. Like, hold on a minute. You're about to the middle, and then like, wait a minute, you're not quite there. You can't rest yet. Don't worry, guys. After today, it is all smooth sailing from here. It's all downhill. You got momentum on your side. You have gravity on your side. Most importantly, you have me and the show on your side. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're having a wonderful day. I've collected a lovely set of stories for you that I'm just going to go ahead and jump into because I don't want to waste none of your time. I understand that you're busy people with busy schedules, and I'm going to keep this just as busy and fast of a show today. So, ladies and gentlemen, our first story, folks, Noem and other federal immigration agents are on the ground in Minnesota. If you are not aware, God, I got to cough in order to get myself ready for today. This is referring to the presence and the active involvement of the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, DHS, and Secretary Kristi Noem in the ongoing federal immigration enforcement operations going on in the Twin Cities area as of today, January 6th. Multiple established outlets, including CBS, CNN, and the Associated Press, have reported that Noem personally is joining ICE and Homeland Security investigations, HSI agents, during arrests. I love this. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't live that far from the Twin Cities region. If I just drive a couple hours, I could go meet her myself. I could get an interview. If she could show up on the podcast one day, Kristi Noem, this is a personal invitation. I know you're in the area. I would love it. The views would be insane. You would get a lot. Listen, you'd get attention. I'd get attention. It'd be a win-win. Let's rehabilitate your image ever since you've been known as a dog killer. We already got some news of them getting including they are joining in the arrests of one in St. Paul, where she participated in detaining an Ecuadorian national described by DHS as an illegally present person wanted for serious crimes. DHS itself publicized the video footage of Noem accompanying agents, emphasizing the administration's focus on removing criminal non-citizens. This actively is a part of the larger escalation that we're looking at in this region, with reports from law enforcement sources indicating the deployment of approximately 2,000 additional federal agents to this area, primarily from ICE's Enforcement and Removal Operations and HSI, to the Minneapolis-St. Paul region for month-long surge dubbed Operation Metro Surge. Sources such as CNN, NBC News, and CBS Minnesota confirm this scale, noting it is one of the largest domestic immigration operations in recent years. The surge builds on prior actions that began in late 2025, targeting immigration violations alongside investigations into the alleged fraud that we've been covering for the longest time, if you've been a fan of the show, into federal programs, particularly those involving Minnesota's Somali community, Somalians, as he would call them, which is not correct. It's Somalis. That's the proper term. Let's get this clip playing so that we can both have some context.
Where the Trump administration is tackling both a fraud scandal and illegal immigration.
Lock them up.
Tim Walz is set to speak soon on that fraud after announcing he is no longer running for re-election.
That's okay.
Agents involved in combating
Can't win them all.
Immigration, out of what is expected to be thousands, have now arrived. NewsNation's Allie Bradley is live from Minneapolis with the very latest. So, Allie, first, what can you tell us about the immigration crackdown there?
Yeah, hey, Nicole. So we know that roughly 2,000 ICE ERO officers and Homeland Security investigations agents are surging into the Twin Cities area as we speak. Now, we know that it's because of the immigration issues and also the fraud issues that are present here across Minnesota. Now, we know some of these agents and officers have already arrived. Some will be arriving as the week continues on. And we know Secretary Noem touched down in the Minneapolis area as well today. Her convoy rolling into the federal building earlier this morning. This followed targeted enforcement operations that she was part of. Take a look at this. DHS saying Noem joined federal law enforcement to apprehend an Ecuadorian illegal immigrant who they say is convicted of robbery and wanted for murder and sexual assault.
Wow.
So here's what else we know about who else they may be looking for. This is based on data obtained through our DHS sources.
There's 133,000 about on ICE's docket in Minnesota, 33,000 final orders of removal, and 11,000 criminal convictions. Very fun. The operations mostly are stemming from the federal probes into welfare and childcare fraud scandals. They were already amplified by the prior cases like Feeding Our Future. Then you had the Nick video come out where he was like going to businesses and the Somalis were giving him the stink eye. They were cursing him from behind the hijabs, and then they would slam the door on him and his old friend. It's a very unfortunate video. You can actually go and watch it yourself. It went insanely viral. She's Noem herself, as she's highlighting the arrests of individuals with criminal records. I mean, it's already aligning with what the Trump administration's been saying, that it's only the worst that we're targeting right here, not just moms. I mean, we're coming for the moms too, but we're also hitting the criminals while we're at it. Local reactions, by the way, it's not hard to predict this. They've been mixed. Governor Tim Walz, he's already criticizing the scale and disruptiveness of these actions, expressing concerns over potential harassment of lawful citizens. According to the statements covered by CBS and News Nation, community advocates and officials in Minneapolis noted fear among immigrant populations. I mean, if you're good, don't worry. You're just gonna go to Alligator Alcatraz for a little while. Coverage from outlets like NPR News and Sahan Journal documented protests and increased agent visibility in neighborhoods. Best of luck, Twin Cities. You're going to need it.
So nearly 134,000 illegal immigrants are currently on ICE's docket here in Minnesota. Of them, nearly 34,000 have final orders of removal, which means a judge ordered them removed, but they still haven't left. More than 11,000, as you can see on your screen, are convicted criminals. Now, of the roughly 134,000 on ICE's radar, the vast majority are from Guatemala and Mexico, but more than 3,000 are Somali nationals who, of course, have been the focus of a fraud investigation and President Trump's immigration and fraud crackdown in the Twin Cities. Now, it is important to note that federal law enforcement have been here. They will continue to be here. They've already been on the ground now for weeks. Now, when it comes to who else is coming, we can tell you that Commander-at-Large Chief Gregory Bovino and some Border Patrol assets, they will also be joining in on these enforcement operations this week. Their arrival is still to be determined here, Nicole.
All right, so their arrival is still TBD, but are the agents so far being welcomed, or is there pushback like we have absolutely seen in other large cities?
Yeah, there's a controversy unfolding, actually some new details out of that here today. So they didn't get the warmest welcome from one hotel, according to DHS. So they
didn't get the warmest welcome. I love that's the way that we say that.
Hampton Inn in Lakeview reportedly canceled reservations of federal agents and officers after learning that they were conducting immigration enforcement. Now, Hilton says it is an independently owned and operated property, adding that the independent owner took action to resolve the matter. However, in a video following the initial cancellations, a desk associate told an undercover reporter that they are not accepting reservations for immigration officials. Take a listen here.
We're not accepting people from immigration, ICE agents, DHS into our property. It's just our management ownership.
Okay, I thought that changed today. Was that?
I just talked to my the owner of the building, and he didn't say there had been any changes.
Okay, so Hilton responded to that, and in a statement they removed the hotel's...
So Hilton is sheltering illegal aliens, is what we're to take from this. Is Hilton, Paris Hilton's, whatever her grandfather, whoever owned it, whatever, she's, just as useless as the rest of them. they are hiding the illegal aliens that are as Tucker Carlson put it, taking up emergency rooms and raping your daughter and things like that. You know what I mean? Hilton, that's where they're at, by the way. Everybody says we don't know how many illegals there are in this country. It's like, yes, you do. Go to a Hilton, you'll be able to count them. I think, by the way, if you want to see diversity in America, go to a Hilton, go to a hotel, go to an American Inn, go to anything like that. You're going to see a little bit of diversity behind the counter, but you're going to see diversity in the hotel rooms. You're going to see, I've seen many people, and this is not people of color particularly, but, it is what it is. I've seen some people of color, and this is just a personal experience. This was certain individuals violating the smoke codes in what's it called, Minneapolis, in the hotel rooms. It's like, all right, whatever. It's just like, whatever. If you're gonna do what you're gonna do, it wasn't even that nice of a hotel, admittedly. It's like, okay, if you're paying for a Hilton, I would understand. Okay, let's not smoke in here. But if it's a Motel 6, all right, fine. Go. Don't cloud up everybody else's room. Is my request.
Saying, quote, the independent hotel owner had assured us that they had fixed this problem and published a message confirming this. A recent video, the one we just showed you, clearly raises concerns that they might not be meeting our standards and values. As such, we are taking immediate action to remove this hotel from our systems. Hilton is and always has been a welcoming place for all. We are also engaging with all of our friends.
Unless you're here to enforce the law.
To reinforce the standards we hold them to across our system to help ensure this does not happen again. Now, DHS called the move a coordinated campaign to refuse service to DHS law enforcement. Hilton maintains that it is open and welcome to everyone and does not tolerate any form of discrimination.
I don't believe
Bradley,
you.
live for us there in Minneapolis. Allie, thank you.
Allie, get out of Minneapolis quickly before you get shot. Quickly. I'd suggest running. I mean, if you're on Chicago or whatever, it's too late for you already. Folks, I want to take a break for the ad because, I mean, in case you haven't already noticed, happy January 6th, ladies and gentlemen. It's important to remember on days like these that history, it tends to clear its throat and ask for attention. And you know what I mean? I think in days like these, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, however long it's been, we're never going to forget the image of the Capitol. You know what I mean? On days like these, I want every government employee to remember that out there isn't just a mob of people looking to string you up in a tree. There's also people ready to help you for a fair price. And that's where Cavalry Defense Service comes into play, ladies and gentlemen. CDS, Cavalrymen Defense Service, is a personal, private, and professionally overqualified military option for government capitals that would really prefer not to trend on social media. While others bring barricades, stern press conferences, and crossed fingers, CDS brings calm confidence and the quiet reassurance of people who alphabetize their contingency plans. Our cavalrymen are trained in the lost art of standing still, watching carefully, and not being surprised by obvious things. Each CDS operative arrives equipped with polished boots, straight posture, and a radical belief that guarding a capital means actually guarding it, all right? Not acting like that one fool who was practically leading the protesters up the stairs. You remember that one video of the one cop that was like, this way, Nancy's this way, I saw her running. If you keep on going, you might be able to catch her. We specialize in de-escalation through presence alone because nothing says today is not the day quite like the disciplined line of professionals who look like they read footnotes. CDS offers customizable protection packages from symbolic deterrence to our premium absolutely not today tier, which includes perimeter integrity, crowd reality checks, and an uncanny ability to notice when the situation is about to become a whole thing. Our team works seamlessly with local authorities, federal agencies, and the concept of common sense, ensuring that everyone goes home with their dignity and building intact. So this January 6th, do not rely on luck, vibes, or strongly worded statements released afterward. Choose Cavalrymen Defense Service because democracy is important and your capital deserves guards who take notes, show up early, and already know how this day usually goes. Folks, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you for sitting through the boring advertisement. we're going to go ahead and we're going to address the elephant in the room. Or I guess I shouldn't say the elephant, the donkey, because he is not a Republican. He's a Democrat. Democrat, however you want to pronounce it, folks. I mean, Tim, I missed you. I really missed your words. I missed your presence. I missed your hair, the beautiful, the kind of disappearingness of it on top, the way it reminds me of my late grandfather. It's comforting, the whiteness of you, just the absolute fakeness of your Minnesotan qualities. It's like you're like an old frontiersman. You're like an episode of A Little House on the Prairie. You just provide a level of comfort that I know not to trust immediately the moment I see you. And if you haven't seen, ladies and gentlemen, I want to take you on a tour of Timmy's latest fun tour for all of us. Tour? The fuck am I even saying? I want to take you on a tour of his latest press conference. That's what he did for us. On January 6th, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz addressed reporters and explicitly stated that he had no intention of resigning or stepping down before the end of his current term, which concludes on January of next year, 2027. He responded to speculation from Republicans amid ongoing scrutiny over state fraud scandal. He declared for Republicans to... he declared, here, I'm going to quote, "For Republicans here, I have more energy than I've ever had. I am committed to this state more than I've ever been. I love this state with every fiber of my being. I'm sure you've made a lot of money off of us." This came one day after Walz announced on January 5th that he was ending his re-election campaign. We covered that yesterday. We're very happy to know that we've run this man out of town. We take personal credit for it because of our thorough coverage of his administration's, let's just say, not oversights, because that's the exact opposite. His blindnesses, his let's just call it the fraud, the Somali fraud. We've been talking about that. He went ahead and said we're gonna call it quits on the gubernatorial run. Maybe we'll come back for another shitty vice president run or something like that. He's citing the need to focus fully on governing rather than campaigning during a challenging period involving federal investigations into welfare fraud. His remarks are underscoring his determination to remain in office despite all of the mounting political pressure. There's so many people ready to wring this guy's neck. They're ready. There's people outside of his house yelling retard. I mean, what else is he supposed to think except for like, my life's in danger? The fraud scandal, in case you don't know, involving allegations of misuse of childcare, the social services funding, it's drawn intense criticism from Republicans and independents and Democrats, and quite frankly, the ones that still have their head on straight, you know what I mean? The people that go like, I don't love when hungry kids have their food stolen. I don't love that. Walz, he emphasized, though, that his administration's efforts are to address it while accusing federal actions of being politically motivated. He described Minnesota as facing unprecedented challenges, including what he called coordinated assaults from the federal government, and vowed to dedicate his remaining time to protecting residents without the distraction of a re-election bid. Smart and very kind. I mean, regarding the Democratic succession for the governor's race, I mean, I'm thinking that he hasn't clearly stated who he wants, or he hasn't endorsed a specific candidate, none of that. Reliable reports, though, are indicating that U.S. Senator Amy Klobuchar has been approached and is strongly considering entering the race. You know what? Female it up. Give us a slit in office. Who doesn't want that? We've had too many men. I'm going to be honest with you. We've had too many men in the governor's race. When's the last time that has Minnesota ever had a female governor? Oddly enough, as someone who loves history as much as I do, I don't know I don't know whether or not we've had one. Okay, apparently 17 states have never elected a female governor. These include California, Colorado, Florida, Georgia, Idaho, Illinois, Indiana, Maryland, Mississippi, Missouri, Nevada, North Dakota, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, West Virginia, Wisconsin, and unfortunately, Minnesota. Ladies and gentlemen, Minnesota, despite how liberal it is, just like California, despite how liberal it is, you'll notice that a lot of liberal states, majority of the time, are not liberal in their practices. They're more often than not liberal in just their values. But in their practices, they're just as conservative as most red states, or red counties, or sundown counties, if we're going to be honest with each other. You know what I mean? If they see you on their property or anywhere near it after dark, you're going to be hanging in their shed upside down with your skin filleted. It's not like, that's not an exaggeration. The Democrats founded the KKK. They still got it in them. They still got Gavin Newsom. He has a shed on his property dedicated to just the people that he finds trying to steal grapes because they're hungry off of his vineyard. I promise you. He has a tent where he skins people. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it. I want to hear it from his own mouth, ladies and gentlemen. WCCO News has Governor Tim Walz. Let's hear it from his own words.
For Republicans here, I have more energy than I've ever had. I am committed to this state more than I've ever been.
When he says I have more energy than I ever have, this is the first Democrat with white hair, like Joe Biden, that I've heard say this, and I don't immediately go, I don't believe you. You know what I mean? He has a little bit of vigor. He has about the same amount of vigor as, like, Chevy Chase in Community? Chevy Chase in Community. Maybe seasons 3 to 4, when you could tell that he was starting to wind down a little bit. You know, his jokes weren't as sharp. They kind of started to write him out of episodes, all that sort of nonsense, and eventually they just killed him off. We're like 2 seasons away from them just killing him off and telling him to go live out on a ranch in, like, I don't know, Red Lake, the reservation. You know what I mean?
I love this state with every fiber of my being. I believe we are the best state.
Same.
Have I been perfect in this? God dang no. I wasn't perfect as a teacher. I wasn't perfect as a coach. I wasn't perfect as a soldier, but I was pretty damn good at all those things. And I am committed to getting this right. Well, put up or shut up now and tell us what you're going to do to make this state better. Ooh. Answer these tough questions. Quit hiding behind this and expect for the next 11 months for me to ride you like you've never been ridden.
His coach talk is blending in with his gay talk that he learned in Minneapolis. I'm gonna ride you like you've never been ridden. I swear to God, you Republicans, you nasty boys, I'm gonna ride and whip you. I'm gonna whip you boys into shape. I'm going to teach you boys what that dominatrix taught me down at the gay 90s. I'm going to whip you boys into shape. This is exactly what I'm saying, is that when I was down in the cities back in 2020, 2021 or whatever, I saw Tim Walz. He was wearing his chaps at the parade. It was great. It was beautiful. It was a show of solidarity with the gay community. But it's obvious that has not fully left him, because he's like, I'm going to ride you guys. I'm going to ride you guys like you've never been ridden.
Make sure that you're doing your job.
Yep.
I'm asking for your help. We need data practices.
That's right.
Right now. You expect to get every one of my emails just like you have when you ask for them. Every one of my commissioners, you should be able to ask for those, which you can do, and we need to do that. Here's the thing that I'm going to ask all of you is.
What's that?
Republicans want to tear this state down. Republicans want to tell you it's too dangerous to walk down the streets. Republicans want to tell you there's nothing good comes out of Minneapolis, St. Paul.
So wait a minute. No. I'm not saying that nothing good comes out of Minneapolis, St. Paul. Almost nothing. But I'm just going to be honest with you. The water somehow from the Mississippi comes out dirtier on the other side. It's filthy. But, I mean, dude, just resign. If you're this upset, if you're this angry, if you're honestly, Mike Lindell, let him be governor. Lisa Damuth, let her be governor. Former state senator Scott Jensen, let him be governor. Who's that other woman? Kendall Qualls. Kendall Qualls? Qualls? I'm going to look it up. Qualls, yeah. Kendall Qualls, let her be governor. I'm going to be honest. Walz, I'm starting to get sick of the, I'm so outwardly offended all the time performance from him. It's just ridiculous. I can't believe that. The childlike rhetoric of him to call me retarded because I'm not addressing fraud in the way that he wants me to. Like, just don't talk about it. Just don't talk about how people hurt your feelings. Don't talk about that. It's okay. It's okay if they do hurt your feelings, but just don't talk about it. He immediately goes to oh, he's gonna make kids nowadays think it's okay to call their friends retards. It's gonna make everybody think it's okay. It's gonna make kids nowadays call their friends fags. They're already doing it. They're doing it in front of your house.
Republicans want to tell you everybody with brown skin is stealing money, or that they're not welcome here.
My grandma with brown skin would have told you that that was mostly true. That most people with brown skin are interested in stealing money.
Want to do nothing to improve this state. Their idea of improving this state is being a parrot for Donald Trump, agreeing to everything that he agreed with. Well, here's what I'm going to tell you. It ain't happening. I'm not going anywhere.
No.
And you can make all your requests for me to resign over my dead body. Well, that happened. I will fight this thing till the very end to make this state better. And the question that I think they need to decide is when did the guy in the White House resign?
See, it's always pivot to Trump. It's always pivot to Trump. Trump is the greatest thing to happen to the Democratic Party in years, I'm going to be honest with you. Because he's just given them the ultimate, Trump. Point to the other direction. Trump is always worse, so we can always get away with whatever amount of radicalism we may want to push. Because Trump is ultimately worse. Trump is ultimately worse. Trump is ultimately worse. It's unfortunate. It's sad. It's why we're probably going to lose. It's why we're going to lose the governor's race this year. It's probably why we're not going to do very good in the midterms. Who knows? It could be, we could do very well. Republicans are already, they're biting their lips. They're not expecting a very good performance for themselves in the midterms. I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. I can't tell you the exact future. I can't tell you what to look forward to. But look forward to maybe Tim Walz on the show. Maybe Tim Walz after you're done being governor. Your brain on air is not going anywhere. Your brain on air is going to be around for a while. I promise you. When you are done being governor and you need some work, you need to get because I promise you. I went to your YouTube channel lately, let's be honest. Nobody's watching. Nobody's clicking. You have nothing. You have no revenue. You have no engagement. And also, I've seen your thumbnails. You have no sense of branding. You have no sense of ability to format yourself in a presentable way. You're not an entertainer. You're not an interesting person to look at, or you have no real takes. You're just like a flat board. I check out at a Menards, and you're the guy who scans most of my shit. That's like your personality. You giggle, and you're like a school teacher. That's it. That's all you have. But what I'm saying is I have so much more to offer. If you come and you join your Brain on Air Studios and you become the co-host, and if you become maybe like a little fact checker, maybe if we do like a little rivalry thing, like I do a thing where I press from a little bit on the right side, you press from the left side, maybe if I could turn this show into a bit of like a pit back and forth type of thing. I haven't been able to find anybody like further right wing than me that's not just a flat out Nazi or anything like that, or like a Nick Fuentes watcher. I like, for real, the people that I see that are like on the side of like, yeah, fuck the things that Israel are doing, they're either like, fuck Israel, I want to burn it down, I want to kill all the Jews, or fuck Israel, I want Palestine, what's it called? I don't want a two-state solution, I want ultimate Palestine or whatever. Like, there's no interesting perspectives anymore. There's no people calling for re-Christianization of the land. There's nothing interesting. There's no one calling for crusades again. Why isn't the new pope calling for crusades? Call for crusades, and maybe then people start turning Catholic again, when that church starts doing something interesting, except for stuff that gets them on 60 Minutes. Like, I'm going to be honest with you, where's the Catholic enrollment rate? How's that looking right now? People are turning to religion because Charlie Kirk got shot, and it's a trad wife, the shit, it's a trend, it's a fad, people will be over it in a few months, I promise you. These things, Bette Davis eyes was the most damaging thing to young women that JoJo Siwa maybe has ever done. Her lesbian turn was pretty bad, but let's be honest, after she released Bette Davis eyes and she premiered the trad wife look, it made it usual, and then Sabrina Carpenter came after that, and then just like, you know what, after that, at a certain point, there's just like trad wife-isms and like a level of like conservatism where like women stay at home and whatnot. That mentality is back in the minds of some young women. It's like terrifying. I'm not speaking Chinese here, I'm just telling you the facts. I'm just like, I'm nervous about the state of our country. I'm not saying that this is going to be like, we're going to be a new reformed Christian nation or anything like that. That's not what I'm fearing. What I'm fearing, I'm not fearing anything. You know what? Because I don't fear. I don't fear because I live in Tim Walz's in Minnesota. Because I know that Tim Walz, you're going to come join me on the show, and then Amy Klobuchar, she's going to win in a landslide. We're not going to have to worry about anything. You and me are going to come and we're going to open a clinic. We're going to run it with a couple Somalis, and we're going to make $40 billion a year. Don't even worry about it. That's the plan. Folks, I want to jump into the rapid fire section of today's headlines. There's a lot of things that we got to cover that you got to know to keep your media diet healthy. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, he has appeared in the United States court. He has said, "I'm a decent man." That's his words, not mine. He appeared with his wife, Celia Flores. They were brought before New York federal courthouse and pleaded not guilty to narco-terrorism, drug trafficking related charges. He insisted that he was still the Venezuelan legitimate president. This is an unprecedented case in global and legal diplomatic implications. He was like, fuck this. This is ridiculous. I just wanted to eat empanadas while my people were starving. And I was like, I get it. I understand that. I mean, while that's happening, technology is advancing, you know what I mean, like that. NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang is showcasing major AI developments at the CES 2026 in Las Vegas, with global live stream expected to highlight the company's future artificial intelligence innovations. Very fun. Keep your eyes on that. Acting Venezuelan leader is also seeking diplomatic cooperation. Delcy Rodriguez, named the interim president, is following the U.S. operation, publicly called for respectful cooperation with the United States, signaling a potential shift forward for diplomatic engagement. I mean, good. Good. I'm happy to hear about that. There's and then ongoing battle over how to remember January 6th. There's a national debate that's intensifying over the legacy of 5 years ago, with Republicans accused of trying to erase the uprising's history, and Democrats condemned for efforts of downplaying it. Democrats condemning efforts of downplaying it amid political divides. I mean, how will history remember January 6th? I will probably suggest not as a legitimate attempt to steal an election, because, let's be honest, it was a bunch of idiots, Americans with no firearms or anything like that, busting into the Capitol, taking selfies with wigs on and shit like that, and like horned hats and whatnot. I don't consider that to be a threat to national security, and neither should you. I'm going to be honest with you. Yeah, I think that we will continue to be deeply divided over it. It's not going to happen. We're not going to write the history books over it for a while. I promise you that. The death toll apparently has been reported over the U.S. operation to seize Maduro. At least 24 Venezuelan security officers were killed, and dozens more casualties have been reported following the U.S.'s operation to capture Maduro, intensifying domestic and international controversy. Speaking of domestic news, U.S. Congressman Doug LaMalfa has died at 65. California Representative Doug LaMalfa, long-serving representative for California's 1st District, passed away at the age of 65, prompting responses from political leaders and marking a significant Republican vacancy in Congress. Arizona Supreme Court has evacuated over a suspicious package. The Arizona Supreme Court and nearby Capitol buildings were evacuated after police discovered a package containing a homemade explosive. No injuries were reported. The investigation is ongoing. There's also been strong earthquakes striking western Japan. Magnitude 6.2 to 6.4 earthquakes shook Japan's Shimane and Totori prefectures, causing visible shaking and some reported injuries, but no major damage or tsunami threat. Rail lines temporarily were stopped. And finally, our final headline will cover: international lawmakers push for January 6th accountability. United States Senator Jack Reed and other Democrats issued statements condemning the pardons of January 6th attackers and calling for renewed commitment to democratic safeguards on Anniversary's Day. I mean, yes, sure. Call for whatever you want. They've been pardoned, so you can't do anything about it. Folks, we're going to cover our last story, and then I'm going to dismiss you for the day. I appreciate you attending class. Thank you so much for, giving me your view. This has been a fun time. I hope that you've enjoyed the stories as much as I've enjoyed collecting them for you. The final story we're going to cover is the CPB, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, is shutting down after the board of directors has voted to dissolve. Folks, the private nonprofit established by Congress in 1968 under the Public Broadcasting Act, really 1967, started really in 68, to distribute federal funds to public radio and television stations, including NPR, PBS, and over 1,500 local outlets, has voted to dissolve officially. On January 5th, the CPB announced that its board of directors had voted to formally dissolve the organization after 58 years. This decision followed the complete recession of its federal funding by Congress in 2025, pushed by the Trump administration and Republican lawmakers. The board chose full dissolution over maintaining a defunded shell entity, citing the need to protect the public media's integrity over potential future political interference. The root cause was the 2025 congressional recessions package, signed into law by President Trump, that clawed back approximately $1.1 billion in previously allocated funding for fiscal years 2026 to 2027. This action eliminated CPB's primary revenue source and it relied on for annual federal appropriations to support public broadcasting. In August 2025, the CPB had already announced an orderly wind down of operations, laying off most of the staff by September 30th, 2025, and retaining a small team for close-out tasks. The January 2026 board vote finalized the dissolution with plans to distribute remaining funds, preserve archives in partnership with the University of Maryland, and support the American Archive of Public Broadcasting. CPB leadership framed the move as responsible stewardship. President and CEO Patricia Harrison stated that the dissolution of the organization was preferable to leaving it vulnerable to attacks or misuse without resources to fulfill its mandate. Board Chair Ruby Calvert described the defunding as devastating to public media, but expressed confidence that local stations and broader system would endure through private donations and other means. The CPB emphasized that over 70% of its funding historically went directly to local stations, many in rural areas, serving as critical sources for news, education, and emergency alerts. While the CPB itself is dissolving, this does not mean an immediate shutdown for PBS, NPR, or local public stations. This is important to note, which operate independently and receive support from diverse sources like membership, sponsorships, and other state funds. However, the loss of federal support, long a target of conservative criticism over perceived bias, admittedly not perceived, it's there, poses a significant challenge for smaller and rural outlets reliant on these grants. The dissolution is marking an end of the federally backed framework for non-commercial public media in the United States. Let's go ahead and look at this clip from 9 News, and I will dismiss you like I've promised.
The Corporation for Public Broadcasting, which helped fund NPR, PBS, and many local radio and TV stations, is officially shutting down. In a press release today, the organization announced the CPB's board of directors voted to dissolve the private nonprofit corporation after 58 years of service. The move comes just months after Congress passed spending cuts that stripped the organization of more than $1 billion in funding. CPB, which was created by Congress in 1967, helped support more than 1,500 local radio and television stations nationwide, and also funded popular programs like Sesame Street.
Well, Sesame Street will still be around, ladies and gentlemen. This is not a complete dissolution of it. They didn't kill Big Bird, as liberals have been saying they've been doing for years. It's funny. It's almost a joke at this point that the Republicans are trying to kill Big Bird. It's not real. It's not happening. You'll still be able to watch it, at least for now, until they eventually die out. Thank you so much for listening, ladies and gentlemen. This has been a wonderful broadcast. I hope that you've had a wonderful time listening. I've had a wonderful time making it for you. I hope that you join us for Wednesday's broadcast. In the meantime, this has been your Brain on Air. I've been your host, Ollie Vogt Larson. Thank you so very much for listening. Subscribe if you want more, like if you liked it. I'll catch you in tomorrow's broadcast. In the meantime, bye-bye.